Hi, my name is Daryl Shockey. I'm the CEO of Choice Applications, and I'm going to show you how to download and install Choice Fleet Management on your computer. Let's get started. Choice Fleet Management can be tried at no cost for 40 days. To start a trial, you first have to download the installation file. This is done at our website, choiceapplications.com. From the main page, you can navigate to the Choice Fleet Management section by clicking on the Choice Fleet Management logo. You then have these navigation aids to the left. Clicking on Trial Download brings you to this form. Here you provide basic information about yourself and your company. Only the items with blue labels are required. The others are optional. After filling it out, click on Download and the download will begin. You might be prompted to specify where to save the file. For this example, I'm going to save it to my desktop. Choice Fleet Management can be installed on multiple computers. In that scenario, you'll use the same installer file to put it on each computer, so you'll want to save it to a location that you can easily access later on. Depending on your computer's settings, you may or may not see MSI at the end of the file name. Whether or not you see it has no bearing on how the file actually works. The installer is called a Microsoft installer file, hence the MSI. After it is downloaded, you launch it just like a program by double-clicking on it. If you're using Internet Explorer, you might get a warning like this one, which says that the file is not downloaded often and could harm your computer. This message is coming from Microsoft's Smart Screen system. It's there because the system does not have sufficient knowledge of the file to assert whether or not it's safe. However, in spite of the warning, you can rest assured that the download is safe and does not present any kind of malware threat. Before launching the installer, I first want to point out that the total amount of time to install the software will vary from one system to the next. The total time is usually between 5 and 20 minutes. For this demonstration, I'm going to fast forward some of the parts. However, to help keep you informed about how much time has really elapsed, I'm going to use this on-screen stopwatch. When you first launch the installer, you'll get a security warning like this. This warning screen appears as a precaution for any file that is downloaded from the internet. Click Run to continue. Here you get the welcome screen. Click Next and you're taken to the license agreement. Indicate your acceptance of the license terms and click Next. Now you have the option of selecting what type of installation you want. If you are only going to use Choice Fleet Management on one computer, you'll just select Complete Application. However, Choice Fleet Management can be set up for multiple computers. This is accomplished by first installing the software on a computer that is designated as the server. On that computer, you select either Complete Application or Server-Side Components. On the other computers, you select Client-Based Components. I tend to prefer Complete Application for the server simply because it makes it easy to test the application on the server itself. This can help if you have any problems getting it to work on the other computers. I'm going to stick with Complete Application and click Next. You then specify the username and password you want. This is the username and password that will be used to access the program. You can use any password you want, as long as it is at least 6 characters in length. Next, I arrive at the prerequisites. Choice Fleet Management uses a database system from Microsoft called SQL Server 2005 Express Edition for tracking all of its information. You can see it listed here. These 2 entries are both systems that SQL Server depend on. You just need to click on Install Needed Prerequisites and all of the needed components will install. This is the single longest part of the installation. I'm going to confirm that I want to proceed. If you're using Windows 7 or Vista, you might see a dialog like this. This is called a User Account Control dialog. It is essentially asking for your permission to continue with the installation. Click Yes and the installation will proceed. Now, this will run for a few minutes, so I'm going to fast forward a bit. After it finishes, you'll see this dialog showing that installation of the prerequisites is complete. Click here to continue. You then get the dialog indicating that the final installation is ready. Click Install to proceed. If you're running Windows 7 or Vista, you might get another user account control prompt. Click Yes. This will run for a short time. Again, I'm going to fast forward. At the end of the installation, you'll get the final dialog. If you're running Windows 7 or Vista, you'll get one final user account control prompt. Click Yes. Click Finish. Looking at the stopwatch, our total install time was about 7.5 minutes. If you look in your system tray, you'll see these two icons. There will also be a shortcut on your desktop to launch the application. After double-clicking on the desktop icon, I get the login screen. The username is already provided. I just type in the password I specified earlier. This brings me to the main form. From here, there's a video called Getting Started that demonstrates how to get started with the program at this point. That concludes this video on installing Choice Fleet Management. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch. Have a great day.